Landowners along the South Texas border are getting notices for the government to survey their land for a possible border wall. Some complain they are not getting a fair offer, while others are concerned it could section off a school campus. Eyewitness News reporter Oscar Margain explains.
It's a place along the U.S.-Mexico border that is used to the illegal crossing of immigrants, says Felix Rodriguez. A place that also lacks a border wall. The 81-year-old often hears gunshots from across the border, something residents like him living along the Rio Grande River in Starr County have gotten accustomed to. While talking to Felix, you get a sense of conformity, that whatever the government does about border security, there isn't much he feels he can do. Except complain. Earlier this year, Felix says he was paid a visit by a government employee surveying his land, offering $300 for a portion of his 500 square foot property. He wants $1,500. Now, Felix says the government is interested in this part of his property. It's pretty much his backyard behind this chain link fence, and it leads to the Rio Grande River. As you can see, Mexico is on the other side. Authorities have identified this section of the border as a hotspot for drug and human smuggling and one of the possible locations for a border wall. The latest indication that the Trump administration is inching closer towards delivering on a campaign promise can be found in neighboring Escobares, where even the mayor was contacted.
I walk out the back door, and what I'm going to see is a 30-foot fence.
Are you happy about that? Or?
Oh, would you?
Escobar says he and his neighbors received letters from the Army Corps of Engineers and Customs and Border Protection a few weeks ago to get their consent to survey their land.
When we voted for it, it was not for any specific reason, that they just wanted to come in and survey the property.
Rio Grande City School District Board President Daniel Garcia showed us the letter the school got in May. It included this map indicating about a mile of land the government is eyeing for tactical infrastructure such as a border wall.
All in favor say aye. Aye.
Garcia says the land is not currently being used by the district and only approved the request for the survey. The area's congressman, Democrat Henry Cuellar, says CBP told him there are over 200 of these requests made in Starr and Hidalgo counties. For those worried about a government land grab, he suggests
don't sign anything without asking questions.
In Roma, on the Texas-Mexico border, I'm Oscar Margain reporting.